StockMiner.com. I'm Brian Johnson, and we had yet another, go figure, update in the markets. Precisely what we had been following yesterday, and that was this little Elliott wave, if you will. 1, 2, 3, 4 looked very clean. ABC 4, with a 5 yet to come. Now, here's the issue. Does anybody see it? Yeah, this next leg looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe 4 pullback with a 5 yet to come to the upside. Does that finish 5 of 5? Do we start another 5 of 5? Do you see the problem with Elliott wave at the tops? And this happens at bottoms too, but tops like this and before pullbacks, it just keeps running. No matter what, it just keeps running. That's what we're seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4, looking for that one move up to be 5, and now it gets into another 1, 2, 3, 4. We can go on and on with this. So, once again, very important that you understand and have lots of tools in your toolbox for understanding the charts and reading what's in front of you. As always, I am still only neutral to bullish. I'm very cautious to the bull side. I'm taking profits when I can in going long. And for good reason, as you can see, we did move up today, but only, once again, a small amount, 32 points. However, it is still up. So here we are waiting and wondering when that pullback will happen and still waiting for lower levels to be broken. Do you see why it's so important to wait for some of these lower levels to be broken from a more conservative trader standpoint? When you wait for these levels to be broken, you're given A, a much better entry, and B, at least confirmation of what's going on. If we look at the daily, you'll see we talked yesterday about the potential, remember, the potential for a topping candle right here yesterday. Yeah, no confirmation today. We got nothing. So more up today as it stands. We grind our way up. See all of this back here? It's repeating itself over here. This can go on for a long time. Could turn tomorrow, could turn in 2 weeks, could turn after a month. The markets will tell us when to take that move, but for the time being, got to be neutral. The bullish got to remain there. Now, if I'm going to change some levels, I might tell you guys to start looking for stuff down below the 11.6, but for the more aggressive, this 20-day is still one of my bigger targets going forward. NASDAQ 60-minute, this one was up. Actually considerably today, almost 1% in the markets itself. So you can see the NASDAQ starting to get that bounce. We had a couple days or a day where it was a little bit weaker than the rest of the markets, but it hasn't really seemed to make any kind of difference over the past few weeks. Same thing, lather, rinse, repeat, guys. Move up, sideways, move up, sideways, move up, and now kind of a sideways move. It actually even broke above this area up here. And the NASDAQ led the way today. It was the strongest. So the NASDAQ composite was up about 0.8%. This was up just a little bit more. This is the NDX. It was up just a bit more. Looking at the daily, you can see, once again, a potential topping candle meant nothing. The bulls are firmly in control up here for the time being. Same thing on a weekly. Now we're getting close here, middle of the week, and this thing has done very well this week. So coming into the end of the week, let's see if that persistence continues from the bull side. Certainly, there's no reason not to think it won't. I mean, we've moved straight up and then moved sideways and now set up for another move. The weekly charts, though, I always like to wait till Friday to really cover them because anything can happen in a day or so. SPX, same type of a move. We got this gap looking at that 1, 2, 3, big, deep 4. But still right back up to test the top. We actually put in a new little high today, as you can see. Will it, from an Elliott wave standpoint, not quite as strong as what we saw on the Dow. Will it truncate up here? Will this be the top? It could, but at this point, it just looks like another 1, 2, 3, with another 4, maybe 5 yet to come. Waiting for breaks below this stuff. If you want to get more aggressive, let it get back into this area here, but really I like this area now down here, 1260 for the more conservative traders. I know it's 16 points away. I know we all want to try to call the top by a penny if possible, but that's not how real trading works. We take our profits when we can get them, and we make good decisions on when to get in, when to get out. That's what makes a consistent trader stick around for a long period of time. It isn't guessing tops and guessing bottoms. There is a little bit of luck at times involved, but in most cases, and I am not a lucky person. Sit me down at cards and you'll beat me probably 9 out of 10 times or 10 out of 10 times. I'm just not a lucky person. So I have to really work at everything I make, everything I earn. Don't know why, it's just the way it's always been for me. So I have to go in stacking the odds in my favor and understanding the workings behind the market in order for me to be consistent at making money. Some people are just lucky, good for them. I'm just not built that way. So having the tools in your toolbox to know when to do certain moves or when to make certain moves is so crucially important to your consistent trading. Otherwise, you'll just slowly find yourself bleeding to death. And the most common thing amateurs do is try to call tops and bottoms. That's the surest way to separate yourself from your money in a very quick fashion. So right now, remember we had that potential topping candle yesterday, turned into nothing today. More bullish action, more bullish action. Still grinding our way upwards and looking for the top here. Gonna have to look at 1280 to 1290 now for our next level of overhead resistance. And you can see everything's been fine. Bulls just dragging it up. Almost an entire month and a half now of basically straight up. So if you've been long in through here, been doing really well, hasn't been all that great necessarily because it's small moves, small incremental moves, but the move is still up. So if you're going long, great. Be very careful. Continue to protect your profits. And just be very cautious to the long side. Weekly, same type of a thing, looking very strong up here. Getting into these upper levels. Let's see where this closes by the end of the week, but so far we're up 1.5% already in the first week of January. The VIX on the daily is also starting to fall. You can see it down 2% today. As it starts to drop, this little gray line that I've had drawn in here for quite a while has been holding beautifully over the last few days as overhead resistance. More important, no panic at all in the markets themselves. From a weekly perspective, coming down to retest this blue line. If we get further pushes by the bulls, we will see this drop once again right back into these lower levels and come back to revisit these 16 and 15 levels in the VIX itself. Point being, as long as we're in this little range down here, still no panic at all in the markets. Apple 60-minute, you can see the big move up once again by Apple, looking very, very strong up here, up almost 1%, $2.71, making for great trading from an intraday perspective. Today it was just basically if you went long at the beginning of the day, you made money. And now it's just high basing. Looks like it wants to try even one more push up. 334, here was that potential topping candle, but once again I'm getting requests from people about, so would you short Apple up here? So no, I wouldn't. Apple's a very fundamentally strong stock, and I wouldn't be comfortable doing that with Apple. These are nice when they turn around and do dive, because they do fall very hard too. They'll fall 6, 8, 10 bucks in a day, which is great. But more than likely, you're not going to get the call right, and you're going to end up bleeding to death as this thing runs upwards. So you got to be very careful with Apple. I still like it to the long side. It's still good for intraday trading. I'm still watching this blue line. I'm watching that 340-ish area right now in Apple. FAS, same type of thing. Moves straight up today, giving you more opportunities to trade this. If you wanted to get in above that 29 or 2970-ish level, 2960-ish level, no problems there. Today gave you an awesome opportunity to do that. We saw that potential topping candle yesterday. You just can't put a lot of stress in that stuff, guys, and I can't stress that enough. You gotta be careful with these. Oh, hey, look, a hammer candle, we gotta go up or we gotta go down or whatever the case is. And that is not how you use candlesticks. If you're not, clear on that, once again, get the education. Very important that you understand how to use candlesticks and in the correct context of how to use candlesticks. This one here blasted right back up. So now we're in a situation where we're basically, kind of a bullish engulfing here, really, by the end of the day. We went from a potential topping candle to a bullish engulfing today. Still looking very strong for the banks in and around this area, giving you a little bit of opportunity to play it to the long side from an intraday standpoint. Then that means FAZ doing what? Yeah, falling. So we had some aggressive entries back through here, and once again some entries back down here below that 890, 870-ish, well, 880-ish area, really, giving you maybe 10, 20 cents worth of work that you could have gotten done. But notice what we saw overall was a hold of this blue line. What we saw in the FAS was a hold of the blue line as well. So all of our resistance and or support levels are working like a charm on these charts. Why fight it? Calling the bottom down here. I know you guys want to call the bottom down here, but now look, if you've been trying to go long down in this area, guess what? Yeah, you're sitting in a bad position today. Just not worth it. Worth it once we get above these areas, okay, maybe. But for the time being, I wouldn't be doing it. Got to be cautious, got to be careful with your money. This thing can continue to bleed downwards, and now that it's gone down again today, I'm still targeting, as I have been, this lower blue line, which is going to be way down near the $8 level. Okay, so if you want to look for bounces or potential entries to the long side, and you want to be speculative about it, make sure it's a smart speculative trade. Don't just jump in anywhere and say, okay, baby, go my direction. Wrong way to play the markets. All right, so that'll do it for today. We saw some pretty decent moves in a lot of these stuff. The ADP numbers were out, and that's really what kind of gave rise. Keep in mind, last night we were down as much as I think 9 or so points, if not more, in the SPX at one point I saw. Then, of course, the job numbers brought everything right back up again. The bulls are loving the dips right now. They are loving them. They're just eating them up. Every time we get a dip, the bulls come in and buy it right back up again at a better level for them. So we will continue to monitor all of this going into tomorrow, but as you can see, this is just a constant grind upwards. Bulls looking very, very good up here. Keep that in mind. Be careful. Be careful if you're trying to call a top. You're going to get yourself burned more often than not. If you are going long, great, but be very cautious as well. You can see these moves up have not been all that strong. This looks like a strong move, but keep in mind this was a gap up to start the day. So unless you were in from Friday, you didn't catch most of this move right here. So the bulls are grinding it up, but you can see only 31 points in the Dow, which is nothing overall. Just be careful with your long plays. Be cautious with your short plays and wait for the proper entry. I promise you, you'll be happy if you do, and you'll be well rewarded if you do. Be back with you again tomorrow. Bye.